All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now on problem number 17 on the review for our logic test. And what you're being asked to do is to use the bad row method to determine if this is a valid argument. Now, what I want you to remember is this. We're going to call this premise 1. This is premise 2. These are the things we believe. And we're trying to determine, these three dots mean therefore, we're trying to determine if from these two premises we can reach this conclusion, therefore R implies P. Now the way we do this is the first column we're going to fill with premise 1. So that will be P implies Q. The second column is going to be, we're going to put premise 2 at the top of it. That's Q implies R. And the conclusion is supposed to be R implies P. Now here's the way the bad row method works. Sometimes in texting lingo, if somebody types that to you at the end of a text, they usually mean ta-ta for now. In other words, bye. Okay. Well, ta-ta for now in this case does not mean goodbye. It means if you fill this in and you see any row that has TTF in it, it means it is not a valid argument. So what we do is we start filling in our rows. And if we come across TTF, we're done. That's a bad row and the argument's invalid. So let's start here. P implies Q. True implies true is true. Q implies R. True implies true is true. R implies P. True implies true is true. Okay, so far we haven't come across a bad row because we don't see TTF. So let's try the next row. True implies true is true. True implies false is false. And technically we can end there. We don't even need to bother here because we can see this is not going to be a bad row. It's got to have TTF in it, and that already ruined it. So let's move on. Let's move down here. True implies false is false. We might as well stop with that too because that can't be a bad row. All right. True implies false is false. Uh-oh. Forget that. That can't be a bad row. False implies true is true. Q implies R. True implies true is true. And R implies P. True implies false is false. Bingo. Bingo. We hit on a bad row. And sometimes, remember in class when I was teaching this, some of you said, how do we know we have a bad row? Think about ta-ta for now. TTF is a bad row. Bad row. And that means the N means not valid, which is also invalid. Now, what if you never got a TTF? What if they all came out but not one row said that? Then the argument would be valid. That's called the bad row method.